Part 1.
Hello, that was Phoenix Dance Company, one of the country's youngest and most exciting dance groups. The average age of the dancers is 20. And since they started 3 years ago, they've built up a strong and loyal following, both from the contemporary dance audience and the schools and community centres where they choose to perform and teach. Theirs is an extraordinary story. The 5 dancers were born and grew up in Leeds. They set up and run the company themselves, and their distinctive and individual approach to dance and choreography is shaped not by dance schools, but by the ordinary middle school they went to in Leeds. It's that very lack of conventional training which has become Phoenix's strength. It's given the dancers the freedom to incorporate many different influences. In their choreography, jazz steps are mixed with ballet, reggae, and karate movements. Kim Evans' South Bank Show film was made on the dancers' home ground in Leeds. It begins with them telling, in words and in dance, the story of the forming of the Phoenix.
David started company in 1981. An idea came into his head about the Phoenix Dance Company. Come and say, Phoenix Dance Company. He started to look for members to join his Phoenix Dance Company. I'm gonna tell you about the dance company. First member of the company, the man they call Vilma James. Come me say Vilma was on his way to work. Come make I tell you Vilma was on his way to work. I said that David, I met him on the street and told him about the idea of the company. Vilma liked it, decided to join him in a rub-a-dub style, in a different style. So onto the scene come a Donald Edwards. Him skank it in a different style. Him skank it in a 84 style. Him skank it in a ragaman style. Him skank it in a yardman style. His name is Donald Edwards in a reach 21. He born a Chapel Town where the culture is strong. Him come in and the company, him legs them so long. Say positive and strong, I said him dance along.
Necessity, it was the murder of I invention.
Murder!
Using what Jack gave us, and there was plenty now. In other half.
Come me say when there was one, he used to do it by himself. But now there is 3, it's just a strong unity in a Phoenix Dance Company. In a Phoenix Dance Company. Ladies and gentlemen, 4th member of the company, the man they call Melville Jones. Yeah, and he just do it in a Ballyman style. Him do it in a Ballyman style. Ponsky laddy 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 laddy. Rensky donga 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 donga.
Go like customs and then you'll call it religion.
Come me say when there was one, he used to do it by himself. And when there was three, it was a strong unity. But now there is four, they just do it on the floor in a Phoenix Dance Company. A one, a two, a three, and a four. Cause Phoenix gonna leave the floor. Murder style. Come me the A1 DJ of the Phoenix Posse. The A1 DJ of the Phoenix Posse. Come me say, around the country me say, cross the sea. The people them know we have a strong unity. The lyrics and the movement go correspondently. Together or even as individuality. Say anything we do as this originality. It's a wonderful world and it will always be. If you keep your eyes open and focused to see. It's a wonderful world and it will always be. If you keep your eyes open and focused to see. Murder.
Want to execute
Political system. Children.
They want to execute
Political system.
They want to execute
Political system.
children. They want to execute political.
Listen, I'm the fifth member named Edward Lynch. Me no tall, me no small. Them say me bout an inch. Me come in at the company just a chat me lyrics. So on the microphone is where I'm situated. And anything me chat was strictly originated for the Phoenix Dance Company. Yes, the Phoenix Dance Company.
The company came about after I had actually stopped dancing for about 5 months. Because I went to London School of Contemporary Dance for a year, then I came back to Leeds on job schemes, teaching, basically not doing anything. And so I stopped dancing for a while. I concentrated on my martial arts. Then I just woke up one morning and it just popped into my head the idea of starting a dance company. And since then the whole idea like a seed has grown.
I was actually boxing, amateur boxing and actually dancing at the same time. So it was a big decision what I had to make there, because people was pressuring me, parents and the boxing trainer, to keep on boxing, because maybe one day I could make it in a boxing career, which earns a lot more money than the dancing career.
Well, I had an audition for London Contemporary the first time, and because of the grant situation around the country, I didn't get the grant. And the second time, I got offered a place. I decided that I didn't want to go. And then at the same time, it was lucky really because David came back from London and Fillmore was working at Civic Theatre. And then David phoned me up and says, well, I've got an idea, starting a dance company. Are you interested?
I was looking for extra classes, and so I talked to David and said, do you mind if I just join in with the classes and stuff? And after about a couple of months working with them, they chucked me in a few pieces with them, and so they said, why not join them? So then I had a choice of whether going down to London if I got accepted by a school or staying with Phoenix, and so I decided to stay with Phoenix. If I had gone on to London, it would have made such a difference, because, I mean, technically, I'd have been a lot better if I'd worked at school. And also, I mean, I'd have lost more of my own style. I'd have got more stereotype.
Well, I went down to the place for an audition and I didn't get in. So I was thinking of working really hard before the year's out for another audition. And then I said I needed, because I didn't have anything else to do apart from go to college, and I didn't want to go to college. So I said I'd just do a bit of dancing here and there. But then Merville, who used to be who was in Phoenix, he's told me about how about joining the company for a year and then going down to the place. I told him that I'd be technician and do the sound and the lighting, but, you know, I ended up dancing, which I knew I was going to do anyway, so it's like a sneaky way of getting in, but I'm in.
All the Phoenix dancers grew up in Leeds, and they still live at home there with their parents. Chapeltown is the predominantly West Indian part of the city. It's a poor area, but with a strong and lively culture.
Some people think it's a bad area, and some people think it's a good area. But it's a nice place to live, where your culture's concerned and learning about different things. Because the area's got a lot to offer, and it's got talent, dancers, musicians.
The piece, Forming of the Phoenix, draws very much on that background. It tells the story of how the company started and highlights the individual character and style of each of the dancers. The dance was choreographed by company leader David Hamilton to music by England's top reggae band, Aswad.
One day Mervyn brought in a tape of a new chapter of dub, and at the time I was thinking of doing a dance actually about the bird, the phoenix itself. But then when I heard that, and I was listening to it for about 2 days, we were rehearsing, and I decided that is what I'd do. So we got on with it and put the dance together. It's rhythm and it's energy, whereas black people have a tendency to be in their knees when they're dancing. They bounce, and the rhythm's constantly there, so it's there, and it's in the whole of your body. Your head will move, your body will move, your knees will move, you want to move, you want to dance, and you move. And our music is constantly there. It's like a rhythm, constantly. It's like the heartbeat. It's like your heartbeat's always beating, and you're always listening to it, and you're always moving to it.
My role is to just dance reggae and do the miming. So one day David says, well, why don't you skank? Because before I did it different. So I thought, well, I'll go back and change it. So this time I did it the way you would dance to reggae. One of the ways. I did it that way. I did a Charlie Chaplin style walk and the use of the legs and the shuffle.
Oh, Forming the Phoenix, well, I toast in Forming the Phoenix. That's what we call it in Leeds. Well, around, that's what black people call it, toasting. You probably call it rapping. It's the same thing.
Come me say when there was one, he used to do it by himself. But now there is three, it's just a strong unity in a Phoenix dance company.
And one day I was just sat down singing while they were doing the dance, and David just came over to me and said, that's a good idea, we've always wanted somebody to toast. How about toasting for the piece? So I said, you're joking. And he said, go on. So I said, all right then, I'll try it then.
Remember the company, the man they call Melville Jones. Yeah.
Like in Forming the Phoenix, they've got me classed as a balletic kind of character, because it's supposed to be posh, very straight and very arrogant, and that's why they gave me that part to do. Personally, I don't look at myself like that, but that's the way the company sees me, so I have to keep it that way.
I was mainly the comedian of the company. That's why in the beginning of Forming the Phoenix, you'll see me coming doing the funniest, like smiling really daft and so on. I was the comedian of the company. That's why in Forming the Phoenix I've got that role, because it was my character then.
A 1, a 2, a 3 and a 4, 'cause Phoenix gonna leave the floor.
The phoenix is a bird that dives into the ashes and has a rebirth. The equivalent is the resurrection of Christ, but for dancers, the fire and the ashes is either a stage where you're performing or a class and you're actually being taught. With us being a young company, then what's happening to us is new. Quite a lot of things going around, teaching in schools, performing in venues, meeting people. All of it is new to us, because it's our first sort of like big job. Then everything we learn is fresh. So we just absorb, and we learn and we use. And hopefully when we're older, it'll all be put into good use.
1, 2, 1, 2, up, and 1.
Although Phoenix is a young company, the average age is 20, they've already built up a strong following. In the recent Arts Council report, they were the one dance company singled out for special mention. And next year, they'll be getting a grant.
1, 2, 3, now dive forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
One of their champions at the Arts Council at the time of that report was Jane Dudley. American choreographer, and a director of the London Contemporary Dance Theatre.
They're totally disciplined. They are totally professional. The 2 times I've seen them dance, I felt on each occasion they gave their very best. They're very together. I can't imagine a group that wouldn't be more suitable for the push the Arts Council is now interested in.
2, 3, 4, 5, hold. Okay. That's enough, thank you.
I think one of the very bad things that would happen is if they would become arty or intellectual or formalistic in the way they approach the dances that they do. And I think the fact that they're willing to dance in the simplest kind of venues for high school students, for lower school students, and that they make contact with these audiences who are really not interested basically in what we call contemporary dance. They couldn't care less. And yet they don't do disco dance, they don't do breakneck, they don't break dance, they don't do, what is the other, body popping. They stay within an art form. I think it's quite an extraordinary, ground they've been able to lay out for themselves and be true to.
All the members of the Phoenix went to Hare Hills Middle School in Leeds, where dance is a compulsory subject. The classes there have given many of the pupils, particularly the boys, a self-confidence and a sense of purpose which is often hard to find in a tough area where there's high unemployment. Over 12 years, the school has produced 22 professional dancers. Nadine Senior is the teacher who brought dance to the school.
It's very competitive. Grow up in Leeds, you have to be good at something, whether it be athletics, sports, football, swimming, dance, you name it. You have to be good at something to get yourself noticed. I mean, at Hare Hills we was very lucky because we had Nadine, was an excellent teacher in athletics and so on, and excellent in dance, so we had both sides of things.
All right, get into a starting shape which is close to the floor. Any shape close to the floor.
What we're aiming at through the dance more than anything is a sort of self-discipline. So really I think the whole philosophy of the school is a sort of self-discipline rather than imposed. And with dance, as you know, there has to be an awful lot of self-discipline for it to work. And so that's one of the main things I think that the children get from it.
Ready, change! And hold the shape. Really stretch those feet if they're meant to be stretching. Change! And hold the shape. That is a lot better. Right, so we've got 3 low movements, 3 medium movements, 3 high movements, and 3 people in the group. And you're using those movements to try and make your group look like some sort of giant insect coming out from under a stone up through the cracks in the rocks. That's why we start low, because it's just appearing. Right, ready?
The choreography is, to me, the most important part of the dance training here. And I don't think there's too much point in teaching them to dance without using that dance for creating something, for saying something that they want to say. To me, it's like teaching a child to hold a javelin and never allowing it to throw it.
3. Nice. Heads, heads. Stop looking at them, Alan. You should know what you're doing. 4. Are we on half point or are we heels down? 5. Looks nice with heels up.
In other areas of the timetable, for example, written work, we've got quite a lot of non-English speaking Asian children in the school, and dance for them is the one way of expressing themselves that they've got at the moment, and so it's very important.
It's nice. that straight or bent? 1. These are your own movements that you've added yourselves. 2. Keep remembering where the middle of the group is, where your centre is. 3. And the music changes here and we put something else on the end. Okay, sit down.
We don't teach technique here. And I find that if you teach a specific technique, then you end up with everybody dancing in exactly the same way. So everybody is encouraged to develop that individual personality in terms of dance and their individual way of moving. I mean, that is positively encouraged. It doesn't happen by accident. And the more they do that, the happier we are. So every single person that dances, that leaves Hare Hills, has a very distinctive style, which is all their own. It's not come from anybody, because nothing, where possible, is imposed upon them.
Is this meant to be stretched or bent? Stretched. Well, let's have it really stretched. What are these feet doing, chaps?
Well, Phoenix were all here as their sort of regular middle school. They came here when they were 9 and they left us when they were 13 in the normal way. They weren't all in the same year group, although they were all here at the same time, so they all knew each other. They were all here sort of within the same 4 years. And one of the nice things is that most of the people in the dance group remain friends over the years.
4, 5, 6, lift out your hips, 7, 8, drop down on 1.
A couple of years ago, when they were just starting, I often wondered why their beds weren't moved in here. And they were in here all the time. I mean, it started off that they would come in after school had finished at 4 o'clock, and then they would have a pressing performance, so they would need a rehearsal, so they would have to come in during the day. They were also going to do workshops and teaching, and so they helped me with the classes to get some experience in that direction. So it was very much a sort of two-way thing at that time. We were helping them and they were helping us. But each time I see them, I think they've changed and developed. And sometimes I like the development and sometimes I don't. But it's constantly changing, which is good. But I think what they've managed to retain the whole way through is their individualism. And I think the group is quite different to any other company performing in the country. And I do believe that goes right back to those early days when they were encouraged to use their own personal and original movements rather than having too much technique imposed on them.
2, 3, 4.
I mean, I'm sure their critics would say that they haven't got enough technique and that there are various things wrong with them technically. But there was a lovely comment that somebody made that if you want to see perfect movement, then you can see a machine, and it's much better to see people striving for perfect movement, and I would agree with that.
And 1. And 1. And 1.
Although Phoenix now tour for 42 weeks of the year, they still feel very close to their hometown. One of their pieces, Speak Like a Child, is about growing up in Leeds.
The running around is the energy, because when I was younger, I still do remember, then playing football, running, it's just like energy, free energy, wanting to be channeled in a direction, and it's moving. It's about all those ideas.
Part 2 of the South Bank show, Phoenix Dance, production number C30511.
Many African children are living in a concrete situation. African children down there in a concrete situation. African children, they don't know where you're coming from. African children living in a concrete situation. African children, they don't know where you're coming from. They don't know where you're coming from. Where you're coming from.
A, in 2, 3, 4, rise 2, 3, 4, make sure you roll up, pull in, lift.
Phoenix see teaching as an important part of their work. Their schedule deliberately includes small theatres, community centres and schools because they want to work with young people who are not part of the conventional dance audience.
Chest and arms, backs the hands to the ceiling, lift up, 4, then down on the other side.
The teaching side of it is important, but when we go out to teach, all we can pass on is our experience of what we've learnt from other kids and pass it on to other kids. And from what we actually do in ourselves, how hard it is to be on the road and things like that, we only can pass on to the kids. If they want to be dancers, we're not going to lie to them, we tell them the truth. We're going to say it is hard and it is fun, and we just tell them the truth.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Begin 1, 2.
Some people teach straightforward contemporary, but when we teach, we like to teach calypso, jazz, contemporary, all in one go.
2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, hold. Sit up, sit back, sit back.
Pauline Fitzmaurice plans the company's schedule. She's known all the dancers since they were 9, when she was teaching at Hare Hill School. Now she works from home, where running Phoenix has become a full-time job. The company has no money for a permanent base in Leeds, and so the dancers rely on Pauline to provide open house and to help them with the problems they face as a developing company.
One of the things that really gets up my nose is that people assume that if you're working in the community and if you're taking dance out to people and dancing in church halls or whatever, that you're only doing that because you can't somehow make it into the big time, and the big time is the big theatres or whatever. And that that's one feeling, that if you're a small company working in those sort of venues, you're only doing it because you can't get a better job. And the other is the feeling that if you're working in that area, that somehow you are inferior in status to, what happens at the Grand Theatre in Leeds is better automatically than what happens in Keighley Town Hall. And I don't think that's true at all. And I think it's a shame that people see theatre in general in that way. And Phoenix want to be out there.
This is not the proper speed, right? Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready? Do it slow first. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1.
One of the things they wanted to do was go out to people and say, dance is for everybody and dance is fun, and it can be nice to watch, and you don't have to go to sleep, and it doesn't have to be incredibly expensive, and it can be a really good experience, and maybe you could do it too. And that was a lot to do with the way the company felt, that was the sort of work they wanted to be doing, and that was the sort of place they wanted to go.
Hold your stomach tight. Hold it stronger. Hold it stronger. Squeeze ribs in. Yep. Back me.
Well, they were very clear when they started that what they wanted to be recognised as was dancers. They don't want to be recognised as black dancers. They just want to be recognised as dancers. And that there is a certain amount of pressure from outside the dance world, from audiences, to recognise them as black dancers. And certainly in terms of publicity, that's one of the angles that's frequently used, this all-male black company. And it's not what they wanted. They wanted to be seen very much as dancers.
On the floor. That's how you saw.
What's the bread?
And yet they're not denying the fact that they're black. And the fact that they're black and come from Chapeltown has a lot of influence on the way they work. But people want them to be somehow crusaders for the sort of black people of Britain. And that wasn't what they wanted to be doing. They wanted to be a contemporary dance company working in that field.
Who's saying getting any?
I think there's sometimes a pressure on them to be more gimmicky, to do the stunts a bit more.
Jaman say me too cool and me just singing and they dance. Say anything.
Just snatched it off me.
If they've seen them jump 7 foot high this time, then an audience next time wants 7'6" or whatever, and there obviously is a limit to how high you can jump. And there is also the fact that they're 5 really nice bodies dancing, and that's an element that comes in. And I think they're aware of that. I know they're aware of that.
In a year from now.
I think it's very difficult for them to do sensitive pieces, to do pieces about gentleness. But that isn't particularly a problem for them. I think it's a problem for this society, that if you see men dancing sensitively and doing a duet or whatever, it's not easy for guys to do that. It's easy to do it. It's not easy for an audience necessarily to take it. And so that's a problem. And that's a side I'd like to see them develop. I mean, the only really sort of sensitive piece in the whole programme is Solitude. And that's been in a long time and can't stay there forever. And that's the solo.
idea behind it is being alone mainly with one's thoughts and one's feelings. And in the dance, then a chair is used to represent the feeling side of being alone. And the walking around and the moving, the dancing, those are the thoughts. Because everybody wants, at some time, is always alone with their thoughts. Sometimes it's very difficult to do. Because you have to, if I've done a piece beforehand, then I've got to go back, get changed, get into my costume. And between getting changed and beginning the dance, I've got to psych myself up just to do the piece. That's where the difficulty comes in.
The majority of our choreography was very strong, full of energy and a lot of jumps and stuff. But we was aware of that stereotype being put on us. And so, I mean, the program that we brought out this year, we changed a lot of the styles in the choreography. And some of it was more slower. Although the jumps were still there and the energy was still there, we learned how to use our energy differently. And in the program that we're looking forward to doing for the next season, we're going to have more classical pieces in it, and different choreographers are coming in.
So take it from the fall. 2, 3, 4, fall. 2, 3, 4.
One of the outside choreographers who's worked with Phoenix is Veronica Lewis. She comes from a very different dance background and has used her more lyrical style to extend their range.
Stop a minute, okay. Out of the cartwheel into this bit has to be free, so it doesn't look like it goes cartwheel stop, but the cartwheel takes you into your steering wheel and then round the corner. Ready?
When I first met Phoenix, their approach to technique was very narrow. They were only interested in very tight, aggressive movement. They were to some extent influenced by Martha Graham technique, and of course they'd had all the wonderful work at Hare Hills. But as far as developing their way of moving into anything either more lyrical or even staccato, it was all, everything they did seemed to be tight and aggressive, which is why I got so excited in trying to share with them the way that I enjoy moving, which is almost the opposite.
1, 4, get it really low. Pa, yum, pa.
I decided I wanted to use some Baroque flute music just because they never worked to that sort of music. And while stuck in a traffic jam on a motorway one day, I came up with the idea of traffic variations.
4, strong with right arm. Look where you're going. Now really suspend.
I took two very clear images of going round a roundabout and also going round bends at fast speed, like they do at Brands Hatch.
And lengthen, phrase it in to get right down. Meow. Meow, Brands Hatch it. Meow. 1, 2, 3, ba, 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 boom.
The reaction that I got from Phoenix when I first said that I wanted to try to do traffic variations and that we would be using Baroque flute sonatas was their usual laid-back disbelief that anything would work unless it was aggressive and strong. Though I think in the last few months they've grown away from that really negative approach to that sort of work. And it took just a few days for them to realise that, in fact, I think it might work. And now I think they seem to enjoy it.
Working with other choreographers has extended Phoenix's range of movement without inhibiting the dancers' individuality or their energy. Nightlife at the Flamingo, choreographed by company member Edward Lynch, is set in an American nightclub in the 40s. It's the Hare Hills view of Harlem, fusing American jazz steps with Phoenix's own dance style.
I wanted the company just to dance to the music without any counts. I just wanted them to feel the music. That's how I really wanted it, but then eventually we had to work out counts and all that. But it's all right though. But at the beginning, I just wanted them to just dance to the music, really, because that's how I saw Americans doing it, just dancing to the music, improvising. When I go to disco, I don't go to drink, I just go to dance, because I enjoy dancing, just doing what I want to do. And that's how I see American dancers doing it as well. When they, in the 40s and 50s, I just saw they went to the disco and they just went on the floor and they did what they had to do and enjoyed it. I watched this film where the Nicholas brothers was doing quite a lot of drops on the floors and spins and all that, and I thought, oh, that's very inspiring, and I thought, how about me and Merv are trying to do that. thought it was a really happy atmosphere in the times, and people really enjoyed dancing. I didn't see dance as something which, they just did it. They didn't see dance as anything that you had to train for, they just did it.
For now, Phoenix are just happy to be dancing and working in small venues. Whether the pressures of success will let them keep this up is another matter. At the moment, they're determined not to change.
We're not about being big or just stepping forward and leaving the small people behind. But a lot of companies do that when they get arts council grants and stuff, but we'd just rather stay where we are probably and just keep on doing what we've been doing for a number of years.
It's good fun. It's enjoyable. It's an experience. You go over the place and you meet different people, and you talk to different people, and you dance to different places. So it's an experience, and it's good fun working with the guys.
As a whole, I look at the company as each person offers something different, and I learned from every one of them. All four of them, I've learned something different. Like Donald, I've learned from Donald the art of dancing, or the art of dancing in his point of view, because I've talked to him quite a lot, and, you know, his art of dancing. And from David, I've learned the sort of, you know, how to get on with people and how to live, really, from David. And Vilmore and Merville's just... Well, I've known Merville from since we were both 5, so we've grown together like brothers.
Now we've got more insight of life, and by moving around, meeting different people, we can start basing our dance on other people and other things, what's going on around the world.
The idea behind the company, the fact that, like I said before, the Phoenix means to learn. If you're constantly learning, then you always have something to go forward for. You always have something to make you stay. It's like staying power or patience. It grows with you. You have your ups and downs, your bad times, your depressions. You have all that. But at the same time, you keep plodding through and you keep going.